Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is a great Malabite and a Rice News analyst, Emmanuel Efeni.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. Yes, we start the review with this day Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story: Tinubu intervenes in Fubara Wike feud, tells Rivers governor to avoid destructive anger, advises FCT ministers to respect his successor. President proposes to visit Ellen Akeredolu. Wike, I won't allow anybody hijack my political structure. Governors, Nigerians, leaders, intervention, fatherly, laudable. Yes, the situation in Rivers State moved to Abuja yesterday. Of course, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, intervening in the matter. Of course, elder statesman Chief Ike Clark 2 days ago called on the President to call the Minister of the FCT to order and intervene in the matter. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done just that. And it was very important that he did, because we want to say it's Rivers, but as we know from the example of the First Republic, problem at the subnational level can degenerate into a national problem. And trying to bring things to a calm level in Rivers State, I think it's a welcome development. And the governors of PDP also saying, yes, they welcome and they commend the intervention of the President. But what is at stake? Of course, other newspapers are reporting this story. The Vanguard newspaper, Rivers, Tinubu waits in, Wike Fubara meet, greet in Abuja. The President's intervention is important, but the issues at stake. Former Governor Wike has said, well, he's not going to surrender his structure to anybody. But you want to oil the structure with state funds? Well, the man who is the chief executive of the state will have a say on that. And he may just want to put his foot down and take charge. If that is what is at the center of this problem, then it means this issue may just not go away because the President has intervened. Because I haven't come this far to regain his own freedom to govern. I'll be surprised if Fubara will want to go back to the level of taking orders from Abuja, where Wike is now the FCT minister. But the problem between Abuja politicians and the politicians at home has always been there. Ruben, you remember how Senator Victor Akan and Joseph Wires, then Senate President in the Second Republic, fought every day with the governor in Cross River State when we were students. Yes, Clement Isong. They fought him to a standstill to the extent, although they were from the same party, they ensured that he did not get the ticket for a second term. But Wike has to sheath his sword and allow governance to take place in Rivers State because there is a new sheriff in town. It doesn't matter how much he contributed. He cannot be governor by proxy. The governor in Rivers State is Sim Fubara, and he must be given the space to govern and take charge. And I'm sure that is at the back of the mind of Sim Fubara. I haven't come this far. So, well, the intervention of the President, a welcome development all the same. Now, another story on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. We want to return but can't. Recalled envoys. Yes, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu recalled all ambassadors, both career and non-career ambassadors. The deadline for them to return passed yesterday, but they're still sitting tight at that post. Not because they want to disobey the President, but because the enablement to return home has not been provided. So the government that recalled ambassadors must do the needful to ensure that our ambassadors return home with dignity. One said, I've packed my luggage, I'm ready to move, but no enablement for me to start coming home. Now, the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, the lead story, of course, PDP governors call for ceasefire, say Tinubu has intervened. While the leadership newspaper reporting that story on easy calm in Rivers as Tinubu intervenes. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper, Senate set to probe printing of new Naira notes by Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Company. Tinubu requests Senate approval for 2.17 trillion supplementary budget as it scales through Rep's second reading. President forwards MTEF to National Assembly ahead of the 2024 budget. Senate confirms Adedeji as FIRS chair. While the Punch newspaper, yes, still on the Rivers crisis, Tinubu PDP governors stop Fubara's removal, protesters arrested. Now, the Nation newspaper, Fubara, Wike, Fued, Tinubu PDP governors mediate. Now, the Daily Sun newspaper, end of road for wanted deadly bandit amid kidnapping of 25. Troops record breakthrough in Kebbi. Yes, a bandit kingpin who has been terrorizing the whole of Kebbi State was tracked to his hideout in the Kebbi forest and neutralized by the Nigerian military. Kudos for the Nigerian military and making use of intelligence. The other day, they raided the home of one kingpin who was living among the people in Niger State. So more of this so that Nigerians in that space can have respite from bandit and kidnapping activities over there. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, cash scarcity returns to Kano, Borno, banks ration withdrawals, ATMs run dry. Abuja BDC operators decry Naira crunch, old notes won't be phased out December 31, CBN official. Yes, we are yet to bring closure to this issue of Naira scarcity, Naira redesign, new Naira, old Naira. In fact, CBN need to come out clearly and tell Nigerians where we are because there's supposed to be a December 31 deadline. Now, the Blueprint newspaper, I go to the story below the photograph. No meaningful police reform since 1861. Dakpo Abiodun, Tinubu sets up Constitutional Review Committee to reverse trend. Yes, if the president has set up a constitutional review committee, then it is a welcome development because the clamor for restructuring has to be given some actualization, especially under a government that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu himself an advocate of restructuring. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper, the story below the photograph, FX liberalization, subsidy cut, courageous decision. Sanusi, Bagudu, others identify transformative role of catalytic capital. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. The Guardian newspaper of UK, graveyard for children. Airstrikes kill dozens of Gaza refugee camp. Now, UN agency condemns destruction after Israel targets Hamas fighter. And the New York Times also reporting that story. The New York Times, fatal strike in dense area as Israel aim at Hamas. Conflicts, tall order. Smash foes while saving hostages. Well, Gaza now becoming a killing field for Palestinian children. And the Guardian newspaper reporting the UNICEF chief saying that graveyard for children, that's what Gaza has become because over 3,000 children already killed. And for the Israelis, if you have a sniff or a whiff of one Hamas fighter in an area, it doesn't matter how many people were around, they will just go for the kill. And that's what happened when they attacked that camp, that Jalaba camp, yes, Jabala camp, yes, in Gaza yesterday, killing hundreds, including so many children. Rufai, Ruben, Ayo.
So we always know what's going to happen in Gaza, but it's not new, because Gaza has always been a killing field for children. And we all know those that are killing these children in Gaza. Apart from this war, children get killed for the flimsiest of reasons in Gaza. We know what's happening. Even in the occupied territory of the West Bank, we know what happened. Since this war started, Israel occupies that territory, we know how many persons have been killed in the West Bank. So we know what's going on. And we can see clearly the hypocrisy of the Western world. We've seen the hypocrisy of America that professes full respect for human rights. Little wonder fella asked the question, what is united in United Nations? Let me sing in local parlance. Waiting united for inside United Nation. Not be Regan and Tachade. Exactly how fellas like what is happening again. The United Nations is divided because we know where the interests are lying. As far as they are concerned, Israel can go ahead in the spirit of fighting Hamas. Yeah, I do condemn Hamas totally for what Hamas has done. In the spirit of fighting Hamas, Israel can go ahead and bombard and kill as much as possible. No problem. No problem about that. Protect the rights of Israel. But the children in Gaza can go and die. The question is, what's the worth of the life in children in Gaza? One Israeli life to 50 Gaza children. What's the exchange rate if you want to convert the worth of life in Gaza? One Israeli person to 200 Palestinian children? Is that the exchange rate? Let's keep deceiving ourselves in the world. It's constantly being a world of deceit. Anyway, those that have the higher power will trample on the weaker ones. And we say we have a United Nation that's supposed to be an arbiter in all of this. The United Nations Secretary General was bold enough to speak true to power. They blackmailed him. Antonio Guterres, you're the true hero this morning. But let's continue. Israel is getting what they want. They are bombarding Gaza in the name of fighting Hamas, which I condemn for perpetrating that act against Israeli people. Let's see how it continues. That's the world we're living in.
Well, what is going on, basically?
Sorry, let me also join you in congratulating Natasha Akpoti Udwanga, a proud member of the Delta Wives Association. Is the wife of the Alema of Warri Kingdom, Chief Udwanga.
What is happening? Basically, in the Middle East, between Israel and Hamas, it's a violation of the international law, the law of armed conflict, and as I've said repeatedly here, of the protocols governing armed conflict and the principles. These principles will include the principle of balance between military necessity and humanitarian interest. That has been violated on both sides. There's also what is called the principle of proportionality. In other words, it's related to balance also. You have to balance your response. Israel is not even balancing anything. So Hamas is also saying, we will take human shield. Now, respect for human beings, humane treatment, that's the principle. The principle of humane treatment is also important. Nobody is respecting any of this on both sides. And the international community, unfortunately, part of the challenge of enforcing the principles guiding armed conflict and the protocols is because the mechanisms are weak. Okay? And then, of course, the UN Security Council is ineffectual. And then in an age of people using drones, new military arsenal, all kinds of technology being deployed, the character of international armed conflict has moved far beyond the expectations with regard to international humanitarian law in the books. But the main topic that I want to comment about is President Tinubu at the Police Council yesterday, setting up a committee for constitutional amendment. You will recall that during the campaigns, I think when he visited Kaduna, he had said that, look, yes, the people asking for state police, he was not opposed to it. Even as a former governor of Lagos State, in his book on federalism, he too talked about state police as something important with regard to ensuring federalism or the restructuring of Nigeria. But he was right on the point that you will need to amend the constitution. So we're hoping that, by setting up that committee to look at the constitution, that will be a step towards fulfilling what he himself had written about many years back before he announced his presidential ambition and, his points about federalism. State police is also, incidentally, one of the recommendations in the 2014 National Political Conference report, which General Zamani Lekwot referred to yesterday. But finally, yesterday at the police council meeting, the appointment of Kayode Egbetokun as Inspector General of Police was confirmed. Kayode Egbetokun is an experienced man. He's also, above all, a very well-educated man, and we have in that position a round peg in a round hole. But he himself, now that he has been confirmed, knows that his job has just begun. His work has just begun, and there's a lot to do. Even before the constitutional amendments, he has to get the police to function well.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Ifene.